Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kieran, and this afternoon I have the pleasure of speaking to you all the way from the beautiful city of Dublin, right here in Ireland, a little country on the west coast of Europe. So, good afternoon. Nice to see you. Just to tell you again, my name is Kieran. I'll write that up here for you. Kieran is a traditional, very typical Irish name. It means dark hair. I don't really have dark hair, but my parents liked the name, so they called me Kieran. Okay, so what we're going to do over the next few classes is we're going to talk a little bit about some different points, some important things that you should know when you're studying English. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is some grammar points. There are many different things you should know when you're studying English. Grammar is one of the very important parts because it is what connects all of the different things with the language. You can take the reading, your writing, your listening, all of your vocabulary and all of the different things. But really we need the grammar to connect everything, to put everything together. So today, this is our first class, our first day together. So today I'd like to talk to you about some of the basic stuff. Sometimes people say to me, Kieran, what grammar do I need to know? What should I know? What should I study? And I like to tell people that the most important thing you should know with grammar is that there are two main grammar points. Only two. The past and the present. Yes, there are certain other aspects within all of that, but really past and present is what you need to know. I'm going to talk about some of the basic stuff today, just because it's our first class, it's our first day together, it's our first day meeting, so we can go through some stuff very easily, very calmly, quietly today. First thing that I'd like to talk about is the past simple. Today, we're going to talk about past simple, past continuous, and past perfect. And we'll break them down and we'll take a little bit of time to look at them. So let me just grab a marker and let me give you some examples. I said to you, we're coming from Dublin in Ireland. You may know Ireland, you may have been here before, and if you haven't, that's absolutely fine. Because over the classes we'll be able to talk a little bit about Ireland and some different things about the country. Ireland is a little country, but we're quite famous in the world. We produce lots of really interesting stuff and lots of good stuff. You may have heard of a music group called U2. You may even have heard of my good friend Bono, the lead singer from U2. Well, this morning when I was coming to school, I met Bono on the street. I said, "Hey Bono." I said, "Hey Kieran, how are you?" So we talked for a few minutes. We had a nice chat. And it was really good. In that sentence, I've given you an example of the past simple. I said, this morning, I met Bono. So in this sentence, what we're looking at is we're looking at something which is finished. Because it's afternoon, so we know that morning is finished. I, as in the subject, I met, which is the verb in the past. And then, of course, we have the object of the verb, which is, in this case, Bono. With past tenses, and as you may know, past tenses we can have regular and irregular verbs. Met, as you will know, is an irregular past tense. I could also use another irregular tense, I saw Bono. But in this case I met him and we had a little conversation. When you are using past tenses, when you're using different grammar points, it's important to try to remember the structure, the subject, the verb, the object, because this is the key. Over the next group of classes, we'll get into more complicated, more difficult structures, and we'll look at lots of different things. But if you can remember the structure, subject, verb, object, and of course we can change it to different subjects, and of course we can change the verbs, and then the object will change depending on what the verb is. I could say, for example, you met Bono. He met, she met, they met, we all met. Who knows? When you come to Dublin, you might meet Bono as well. So that's the past simple. it's one of those tenses that we use so much. It's a really key English tense. It's really, really important. And it's really important to remember, and this is a really important point, that it's finished. It's talking about something in the past which is finished, and it's really, really important to remember that. It's important for later classes when we talk about other tenses that we will use. Okay, fantastic. That's the first one that we're going to talk about. Let me continue with the example and let me give you a little bit more information. This morning, while I was walking to school, I met Bono. Okay, you'll notice I did something different there. I introduced another aspect to the sentence. And what I did was, I said, let me just draw a little line here. This morning, while I was walking to school, because Dublin's a nice little city, you can walk everywhere. I met Bono. I've done something different here, as you can see. I've introduced, okay, we know we have our past simple. We've talked about this before. It's finished. But I've introduced something different into it. And again, we can see, same subject, I, but this is different. Yes, you're right, and I know you saw that. I was. So it's different because this is finished, but I'm using, while I'm introducing a continuous tense. It's during the period that I was walking. Perhaps I started walking at 8 o'clock, and perhaps I walked from 8 to 8:30, for example. This can be a little bit more complicated, so I'd like to just draw a little timeline to give you an example of how this one works, because this can be when people get confused with. So we're going to put a little timeline here. Just a little gap there for future. We're not going to use that now. But we have the present and the past. Okay. Think about it. Was walking. It's past continuous. It's a longer action. And this one is a short action. Really what we're saying here is, during the longer action, something short happened. So, let's assume, as I said to you, I start walking at 8 o'clock. So here I am. Start walking. Finish walking at 8:30. So here I am, walking along the streets, along the beautiful hills of Dublin. During this time, I meet Bono. So what we're talking about is, draw a little picture. Here I am, walking along, and it's during this time. So the past continuous and the past simple are used to show that during an extended action, one short activity happens. It's an important one, and most of the time that we use it, and we will talk about it again in detail again, but most of the time that we use it, we will compare it and we'll link it with the past simple. So both of these, most of the time, 90% of the time, will go together. The subject that I'm using in this case is I. So I was. And we can change this around, and you'll be familiar with this from your passive the verb to be. I was, you were, he was, she was, they were. So what we're using is a past form of the verb be, and we're always going to use the verb in the ing, in the continuous. So it's always going to be infinitive plus ing. Okay. That's very brief. That's talking about two tenses. We can talk about some others, but I think we'll leave it with two for now, because maybe too many can get a little bit complicated. Just to very briefly look at what we've done. We've talked a little bit about past simple. It's an action or it's something in the past which is finished. And then we compared it with a longer action, and we've used the past continuous to talk about something in process for a period of time, and something that is interrupted by a past simple event. while I was walking to school this morning, I met Bono. I have no doubt that when you come to Dublin, you will also meet Bono on your way to school. You might even sing some songs. You might even write some songs with Bono on your way to school. But that's a little bit down the line. Thank you very much. Very nice to meet you, and I look forward to seeing you all again. Bye.